Hi everyone, welcome to another sewing video and welcome to the start of a new multi-video project. It's time for my second historical outfits series, I guess. Almost 2 years ago now I started my historical sewing journey with the Pretty Housemaid corset. Now I wasn't necessarily planning that one to be the start of a bigger historical sewing journey, if you will. It was actually part of my corset series, which, by the way, will make a comeback at some point, probably at the beginning of next year, I think. Anyway, once I was done making that corset, which I'm still incredibly proud of, by the way, I love it so much, I realized that I didn't really have anything to wear it with, because it just doesn't really look the same if you wear it when you're wearing your modern clothing. So I decided to make a full Victorian outfit. I started with the chemise, then I made the petticoat and corset cover, and then finally the actual skirt and bodice. And if you're interested in that whole process, I will link the full playlist up in the corner. I really enjoyed making that outfit and all the individual pieces as well. So, of course, I wanted to do it again. Now this time we are going back in time a little bit more. The third part of the corset series, I made 18th century stays. Here they are. So, can you see where this is going? Yeah, it's time to make an 18th century outfit. Now for the stays, I used this butterick pattern. This is the 8162 pattern. Mainly because it was made in collaboration with American Duchess, and I've had their American Duchess guide to 18th century dressmaking for a while already, and I love that book. Even though I haven't really made anything from it yet, I just find it so interesting just reading through everything. But because I have the book, here it is, I can use this for the new series. And for the dress I picked, I decided to go with the Italian gown. I really love the shape of that one, and I like that it's pretty different from the Victorian outfit I made. So hopefully it will be interesting and challenging and something different. Then for the Italian gown, we'll be making a couple of pieces. More than we did for the Victorian outfit. And for all but one, I will use the American Duchess book. The only exception is the very first item, which we are going to make in this video, which is this shift. Now luckily, the butterick stays pattern comes with a shift pattern as well. So I'm just going to use that. And then I also want to make the under petticoat in this video. And mainly because there are just so many pieces. And if I have one video for each piece, this would take a year to finish the whole thing, probably. So we're combining some things. Then in the next video, we're going to make the false rump to shape the booty area. And next it's time for the visible layers. First we have the outer petticoat, and then the main dress itself, and then finally some finishing touches like, I believe, an apron, some bows, stuff like that. But first, the shift and the under petticoat. Like I said, I'll be using the butterick pattern, which I have cut out and prepared, so that's all ready to go. And then for fabric, I went with just a simple white cotton. This has also been prepared, it's washed, it's ironed, so we can actually start sewing now. Step 1, as usual, is just cutting everything out. Pattern pieces are pretty basic, basically just a bunch of rectangles, so it shouldn't take too long. I'm going to not destroy my bag today and not go into floor troll mode. I'm going to cut everything out on my table. Let's hope that fits. It should fit, and it should save my bag. Let's go. Okay, everything is cut out and I'm ready to start sewing. Now for the sewing, I'm going to do what I did for the most of the Victorian outfit as well, which is sew all the invisible seams on a sewing machine and then the visible ones by hand. Mainly because I'm hypermobile and my hands don't really like hand sewing. Now someone did comment on one of the other videos that there are splints you can use, so I've been looking into that. I just haven't. My battery's about to die. Okay, battery died, I didn't make it. Anyway, I'm going to sew the invisible seams on the machine and then the visible ones by hand. And what I'm going to do now is do a couple of things in a row. I need to do some stay stitching along the neckline and then along the underarm section. So I'm going to do that first. Then I'm going to sew the shoulder seams. And then I'm going to prep the ruffle and the facing, because there's going to be a ruffle around the neckline. And to do that, I'm going to first sew the ruffle pieces together using French seams, because that's what they also recommend in the instructions. And for the facing as well. And then I need to run a gathering stitch along the edge of the neck ruffle, which I'm going to do on the sewing machine as well. And then we can start putting some more things together. But that's what I'm going to do first. Like I said, I'm going to get out my sewing machine and just sew. Okay, we have a prepared ruffle. I should have done this before I gathered it up, but I made a quick hem. Almost forgot about that, but it's fine. I have the neck facing all prepped and ready to go. And then we of course have the main part of the chemise. No, not chemise. Shift with the shoulder seams and the neckline ready to go. So now I need to put these three elements together. First, pin the ruffle to the outside of the shift and then add the neck facing, sew that together, and then I believe I need to fold the neck facing to the inside, and I believe that will also then create the drawstring channel. So I'm going to do all of that on the machine mainly, except for sewing the facing down on the inside. I'm going to do it by hand, but the rest on the machine. I think then we can start working on the sleeves, which should be fun. So the ruffle thing on the neckline is done. Now it's time for the sleeves, and that's the last big thing I need to do actually. It's going really, really quick, which is good because we also have a petticoat to make. So what I'm going to do now is just go through these sleeves really quick. What I need to do is I have prepped the ruffles already for the sleeve. So I've hemmed the edge and I've run some gathering stitches through it, through the top edge. And then I need to sew the gussets, these like triangle bits, to the sleeves. Sew the ruffle to the sleeve and then sew the sleeve plus gussets to the main shift and then sew the side seams, basically. And then all I need to do after that is do the finishing touches. So I need to hem the shift and I need to get the drawstring and work that through the drawstring channel. And then we are done. And then, like I said, we need to make the under petticoat. So I'm going to get all of this done today. And then I think tomorrow we can go work on the finishing touches and start working on the under petticoat. Well, good morning everyone. It's the next day. Remember how I said, I'm just going to do the sleeves and then I can do the hem and then we're done? Well, no. I kind of forgot that I had to finish all the seams on the inside. Last night I worked on one half of the seams. So on one side of the shift I finished all the sleeve seams and then the side seams. But now I still need to do the second half. And it's been a bit of a challenge because it's much easier to just finish the seams as you go along than at the very end, because they're all kind of crossing over and it's annoying. But I figured out a method that works. So I've already pinned everything into place. Especially the gusset area is a bit of a struggle. As you can see, it's kind of a complicated web of triangles and stuff like that. But yeah, that's prepped. I'm going to sew that. And I need to do the side seam. And then we can actually do the hem. And then we are technically done. Because I already did, by the way, pull the drawstring through the channel because I just wanted to try it on really quick to see if it even fits. It does. It's I didn't have to worry about that. It's actually quite roomy, so you will see once we're done. But I'm now going to finish all of these seams and then we're going to do the hem and then we can put this project to the side and start working on the petticoat. The shift is done. Here it is. I'm not putting it on yet. You'll have to wait till the end to see what it actually looks like when I'm wearing it. Because I first want to make the under petticoat so that in the end we can try everything on together. For the under petticoat, I'm using a different fabric. For this I have a lot of linen fabric, white linen. It's mainly this much because I also need it for the next project, the false rump, and my battery is about to die again. Hang on, let's do this again. I changed the battery and then I didn't press record and I've been talking for a while. I think I was talking about the fabric and I washed it. I didn't iron it because it's about, I think I ordered 6 meters of this and it's linen. So once you iron it and then fold it up again, it's going to be all wrinkled up again. So I'm going to just do that once I've cut out what I need. Speaking of what I need to cut out, the instructions. For the instructions, I will be using, like I said earlier, the American Duchess Guide to 18th Century Dressmaking for the rest of the items I need to make for this dress. And for this in particular, I will be making the 70/40s basic under petticoat. They do say that this works really well for the Italian gown as well, so I'm just going to make this one. It's actually really simple. I need to cut out just one piece of fabric, a rectangle, that's 2.5 meters wide. That's going to be the circumference of the petticoat at the hem. And then I need to just figure out how long it needs to be, so I will have to do some measuring in a couple of minutes. But I need to cut out one rectangle and then I'm going to iron it. And then I need to do not even that much. Step 1 is to sew the center back seam. And for that I just need to sew it up till, leaving 10 inches at the top as an opening. And then I need to do the hem. And then I need to do the waistband section, which is just going to be a lot of pleating. There's going to be even more pleating for us in the future. I've read ahead and I feel like everything from now on is going to include pleating. And then I need to attach the waist tape to the top edge and then I think we're already done. So it's not that much I need to do. It's just a lot of hand sewing. So we'll see how quick it's going to go. I'm going to start with cutting out the fabric and then I'm going to do the center back seam. So I will see you once I'm ready to work on the seam, because I need to do a stitch I haven't done before, which should be interesting. Okay, I've cut it out and I've pressed it, so now it's looking much nicer and I'm ready to do the center back seam. And for this I need to do the Mantua Maker seam, I believe. Luckily, American Duchess have instructions. That's good. So what I need to do is I've already kind of laid it out correctly. One layer needs to be offset by, I don't really know how much, 3 to 6 millimeters. Well, I have way more than that. Okay, let's make this correct. Okay, that's more like it. And then I need to fold the bottom layer over the top layer. And I'm just going to press it while I do it so that it stays perfectly where I want it to be. I'm sorry, but this is not going to work. I'm going to make this slightly bigger. And they actually want me to now first baste this into place, but I've done enough hand sewing already and I'm starting to get a little bit lazy, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to move on to the next step straight away. So let's pretend I basted this. And now I need to fold this over once more, if I'm correct. And then I need to sew this down, and I think just through all layers, so that when I open it up, it's going to be invisible, I hope. I'm going to prep the rest of the seam off camera, and then we can start sewing this down. That was a pretty successful first try at Mantua Maker's seam, I guess. I think it's looking decent. I also then quickly hemmed the little opening pieces at the top. Now I need to do the pleating at the top. I actually am supposed to do the hem first, but I want to wait. I want to first do the whole waistband situation so that I can try it on before I do the hem. So that if I need to make any adjustments to the hem, I can do it after I've tried it on. So we're going to do the pleating at the top first. Okay, I'm just gonna play around with it, see if I can get it right, and then I can baste it down, I believe, backstitch into place, and then I need to get the waist tape and fold that around it. I can do that. Time to pleat. Okay, took a couple of tries, but I figured out the pleating. So what I did is I did the big box pleat in the center. And the first one is 3 centimeters, next one is 4. And then all the way to the end, I've just done 5. I really like that now the end is right next to here. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. Then I'm going to backstitch across, sew all the pleats into place. And then I have this. I just feel like it's not going to be great for folding it over because it's kind of small. I also have some white bias binding which I might use. I don't want to do that. No, I'm gonna use this. So I just need to trim the top a little bit because I have this blue line across the top because this is a selvedge. I just need to trim it so that that's not visible, and then I can sew this over the top to bind it off nicely. Okay, that's the plan. I'm going to do that, and then once that is done, I can work on the hem, which will probably be tomorrow because it's getting dark already. Yeah. And here it is, the waistband done. And I think, honestly, this is some of the neatest stitches I've ever done, at least the hand stitches. And I think it looks so good. I'm really happy with that. I also tried it on really quickly. I found out that this is maybe a little bit too big, but that's okay. I can just overlap it in the back. That's completely fine. Now it's time to work on the hem. And like I said, I tried it on and I think I can make the whole thing about 10 centimeters shorter than it is now. I'm not going to cut off all the excess fabric because I want to be able to take it out and make it longer if I ever decide I want it to be longer. So I'm just going to make a pretty wide hem, I guess, and fold up all the excess fabric in there. So I'm going to do that. I think we've already seen enough of me hand sewing in this video, so I'm going to skip past that and go to the most exciting part, in my opinion, which is the review, where we can finally see the shift and the under petticoat on. So here we have the first item, the shift. I think it looks pretty good. It is pretty roomy, but I think they were pretty roomy back in the day. They aren't supposed to be form-fitting. The ruffle looks cute. I'm happy with the sleeves. I just think it looks really nice, especially with the stays on. Here you can see what it looks like with the stays on, and I already feel like the shape works so good with these two items combined. And then of course we have the petticoat. I am in love with this petticoat. It's very simple, but it's so nice. I think the pleating turns out great and it gives just a really nice shape to the overall outfit, or technically the underlayer, I guess, but that's a good foundation for the rest of the dress. It's a little bit shorter than my Victorian petticoat, but it's supposed to be. So here we have a close-up of the sleeves, of the ruffle around the neckline, and then the waistband of the petticoat. And I think this has been a very, very successful project. I'm really happy with both the shift and the under petticoat. And now I am even more excited to move on to the next layer, which is the false rump. Feel free to subscribe so you don't miss the next installment in the series. And for now, thank you for watching. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!